When was the last time you said, I think we should, and stopped there? No reasoning, no trade-offs, just the conclusion. Today, that changes. You're going to learn 2 exercises that make your thinking visible to the people who need to see it. When was the last time you said, I think we should, and stopped there? No reasoning, no trade-offs, just the conclusion. Today, that changes. You're going to learn 2 exercises that make your thinking visible to the people who need to see it. On screen, you can see the before and after. Instead of we should go with vendor A, the narration version sounds like this. I'm weighing 2 factors here. Vendor A has a stronger implementation timeline, but vendor B has better long-term support. Given that we need to be live in Q3 and our internal support team is already stretched, I'm leaning toward vendor A because the faster implementation offsets the support gap for the first 12 months. Same conclusion. The reasoning path is now in the room. That's all narration is, making visible what you already process internally. You didn't add new thinking. You didn't slow down your decision-making process. You took 60 seconds to show the work that was already done. The practice cycle runs 4 weeks with a deliberate progression. Weeks 1 and 2, 1 narrated decision per day in low-stakes settings, one-on-ones and small team meetings, not the board meeting in week 1. The comfort builds with repetition, and you need that repetition before the stakes go up. Week 3, expand to team meetings and cross-functional discussions. By now, the structure feels more natural and you're not thinking about the mechanics as much. You'll notice yourself narrating before you consciously decide to. That's the habit forming. Week 4, apply it in high-stakes contexts. The board meeting, the strategy review, the conversations where visibility matters most. Each week, rate yourself on a 1 to 5 scale. How consistently did I narrate rather than announce this week? The progression isn't perfection on day 1. Most leaders start at 1 or 2 in week 1 and reach 3 or 4 by week 4. That progression is the success. Exercise 2, decision narration practice. This is the complement to thinking out loud. For 1 week and every significant decision with 2 sentences. I chose this because, and what I considered and set aside was, the first sentence makes the reasoning visible. The second sentence is critical. It makes the trade-offs explicit. When the audience knows what was considered and rejected, they understand the decision as a deliberate choice, not an impulse or a guess. What counts as a significant decision in practice? Not every email, not every scheduling choice. The decisions that affect other people's work, priorities, or resources. 2 to 4 per day for most leaders at your level. Those are your practice reps. The second sentence, what I considered and set aside, turns a unilateral announcement into a transparent decision. It shows the room you didn't just pick the first option. You weighed alternatives and made a deliberate choice. That's the difference between she decided and she chose. That transparency doesn't invite second guessing. It builds trust. When people see the reasoning, they disagree less, not because they're persuaded, but because they understand the basis for the choice. And when they do disagree, they can engage with your reasoning instead of just pushing back on the outcome. You'll know these exercises are working when stakeholders begin paraphrasing your reasoning back to you. So you went with B because of the resource constraint. That paraphrase means they received the thinking, not just the conclusion. When you hear that, the visibility gap is closing. They're no longer experiencing your decisions as mysterious pronouncements. They're tracking your reasoning and can engage with it. That's the shift from I never know how she gets there to I see why she chose that and I can work with it. Two common mistakes to watch for. First, over-narrating. Turning 60 seconds into 5 minutes of stream of consciousness processing. The protocol is 60 seconds of structured reasoning, not unlimited thinking out loud. 60 seconds. Key factors, primary trade-off, conclusion. That's the structure. Second, waiting for high-stakes settings to practice. The exercises work because repetition builds the habit. If you're thinking about how to narrate while you should be thinking about what to decide, the stakes are too high for your current comfort level. Start in one-on-ones and small meetings. By week 3, narration feels natural rather than forced. In your next meeting today, try narrating one decision, just one. I'm weighing 2 factors here. Notice the reaction. You don't need to be perfect. You need to start. That's the engagement for today. One narrated decision, one observed reaction. Write down what happened afterward. Was the response different from what you normally get? Did anyone paraphrase your reasoning back to you? Did the quality of the conversation shift? "60 seconds of structured reasoning transforms an announcement into a transparent decision. One decision per day. 4 weeks. Measurable, visible change in how people engage with your thinking." Decision narration is about making your thinking visible. The next exercise targets something different, making your emotional response visible. Because for many leaders, it's not just the reasoning that stays hidden, it's the feeling.